Good morning and welcome to a morning outlook. This is Kim speaking on Thursday the 21st of July. So let's look at the news events that are coming out today which could affect the markets. We have for the Australian retail sales already out, came in at minus 1.8%. They was expecting negative data anyway. We'll look at the Aussie in a moment. Crude oil inventories later on, and that's it for today. We'll just see what materializes aside of that. So, I mean, it's the big day tomorrow for the ECB, so that's really what the markets are going to be sitting there probably waiting for. But in the meantime, looking at this market and starting off, I'm going to start off with the Forex market, so that's what I trade predominantly, and starting off looking at the Euro. Well, yesterday still managed, well, actually made it a new near-term low yesterday, so we're seeing this sort of continuation of lower highs and lower lows as we run through here. Easier to spot on the 4-hourly charts or the hourly charts, and that is just showing you trend is down. Now we are seeing these sort of moves that come back, like yesterday's there, it came back quite quickly at about 8 o'clock. Fortunately for me, it set up a trade, my auto trader, a bit later. That went on and traded nicely on its own. So it was one of those days that it's so easy not to be trading today in this weather. But for large periods, we then see this sort of chop, and it's very difficult to try and assess anything. So if you're looking to really date, well, it could be at times here you're better off almost trying to swing trade, although some of the retracements can be quite big at times and maybe switch, stop you out if you're using near-term highs. So a longer time frame short may be the answer sometimes, or just don't be over greedy in terms of what you're looking for in terms as a result. Anyway, as we're sitting here at the moment, we've sort of looking at the euro this morning. It's consolidated, it's broken down there. It's sort of on that 630 bar. Sorry, I'm on a 30 minutes, just run to an hourly for a moment. There we go, on the 6 o'clock bar in that case. It's back into this sort of area where we were sort of sitting yesterday. We might see yet again a post 8 o'clock rally. We've seen a sort of a bit of support coming in at this sort of level, but it could be a tricky old day for the euro, as I said, with the ECB tomorrow. But my main expectations are for the downside. But shorts may be unwound a little bit. You never know, leading in to the news. The pound sold off strongly over the last few days. Yesterday was no exception really. It's quite strong, not as much in the way of range yesterday, but it's still over 100 pip days, and 3 of those on the trot there. In fact, I don't think we were far off that last week. 94 pips. Yeah, I mean, there's good volatility on the pound if you're looking for something with volatility. The only thing is it's the whip sort of, again, the whippish sort of nature of it at times. It doesn't really look too bad when you look at it on an hourly, but when you sort of come down and sort of look at these bars here, they're quite sort of 43 pip move that day. 36 pip, well, it moved more than that in the end. It was probably 40-50 pips it moved in the end, bouncing back up here into yesterday's morning, and then, well, it's just catching a bit of a bid at the moment. So we'll see what happens, but it might be there's an opportunity later. I'm looking at the sort of 60-minute 50 at the moment, if it gets there, or even the 34, maybe before that. Seeing if it runs into resistance around those sort of areas, and see if we can just trade this bearish trend. Okay, dollar yen. So dollar yen lower highs obviously here. Bit of a bounce yesterday, a bit of an unwinding one, and a softer yen, stronger US dollar there yesterday, which is more like it. So it wasn't one of those days where you were seeing the risk off situation. It was risk on, but the yen sold anyway. And quite choppy here. I mean, it's just a stronger dollar coming through yesterday. Where to today? Well, it could. There is a trend line running across the highs here, which I haven't put on, which I should put on there, I guess. Let's pop that on there. Here we go. So there is that trend line there. A break about that would be a bit more bullish. It has got an untouched weekly pivot above, which again could be a draw. I've not traded it, and I won't go looking to trade the dollar yen. I think it's easier to trade the euro yen, even though when I'm looking at that, it's choppy and horrible at times. But it just seems to move a bit clearer. Anyway, you've got these long periods of sort of consolidation. This is towards a sort of a near-term top. So, well, break out of this could see us pushing upwards, and that all fits. We're breaking that trend line. Aussie dollar. Just looking at the Aussie dollar, continued to be weak here. Same old, same old. It's just looking for the retracements. They weren't that obvious yesterday. Well, in fact, most of yesterday you spent just looking at it here, chopping along. A bit of a retracement this morning, and then those retail sales haven't helped things, and the Aussie's selling off at the moment. So it's a case of being patient. As I said, sometimes it may be just setting a sell stop at certain levels above price. Just looking at Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar. So Canadian dollar, well, it too is just sort of largely be continuing. Yesterday saw sort of a bit of a retrace there, lower high. Now we've seen the cracks in this. I'm waiting to have a look and maybe even catch a swing at some point on the Canadian dollar, but maybe not quite yet. But this is the sort of first sort of sign of weakness I'm seeing here on this upward trend for some while. Let's say the lower high coming in, maybe a break of this 26.70 area could signify further downside. Got a nice weekly pivot as at least a part target sitting below. Just looking at the hourlies here, shaping up. It's, let's say, a bit soft looking, and we could see a move to the downside. But it might be just worth waiting to see if it breaks, as I say, these prior lows here. New Zealand dollar. Just a quick look at this. Don't trade it very much. Too choppy, too messy. Same sort of picture as the Aussie though. Downward trend, but very, very bitty and not really worth doing too much with that. Euro yen I've been trading with, but it's been delivering at times, but it can just get very choppy and take back what's part of your gains quite quickly. It's not been doing it. Last year it was into some better trends at times. Just looking at where it is at the moment, weakness sitting into this 4-hourly 21 here, and well, I think it becomes more bearish if it breaks this recent candle here. If it breaks that breakthrough daily pivot, becomes bearish again. But quite, I mean, it delivered for me yesterday on a trade, but it's quite choppy at times, spiky. You know, we've seen these sort of spiky price action kicking in, but this is the way some of these markets go through the summer, and it is really summer trading. It's just waiting for, if you're manually and trading it, you just got to wait for the sort of the chop to finish and go with the main direction. Okay, nothing much else there. I mean, there may be some opportunities through some of the crosses. I'll look at later on at those personally, but there doesn't seem to be too much there of interest to me. Right, let's have a look then. As I'm on here, we'll have a look at the commodities first. We'll have a look at gold. So gold yesterday was trying to edge up backwards. It never really held on to its gains there. Sold off in the afternoon, just giving back the gains, and it gave them back quite quickly in the end. 3 o'clock in the afternoon there, looking soft, but bouncing again. But just too choppy for me at the moment as it sits to make sense of what's happening there. The bias was starting to come off a little bit and come to the downside from this 4-hourly. It put lower highs, lower lows in that picture. Just don't like the look of it at the moment. Okay, that's gold. Oil. So oil didn't really follow through too much yesterday. I was looking at it at one stage, lost interest in the end. Just getting on with things. It's sort of almost, well, bearish flag sort of pattern here, but it's done that horrible little spike in between of the flag, which puts me off somewhat looking at it at times. It's just the way oil is at the moment. It's had a good move down the day before yesterday. Yesterday it started selling. I was looking at the trend line across the lows there, where it went at 9 o'clock, a bit early, then chopped around most of the day until 2 o'clock when the US market really opens proper, and then it caught a rally. But it's just, maybe it's trying to work out a bottom here. I'm sure on the using something a bit slower like a MACD. There's divergence across the lows here. Maybe it's got something coming in there, but we've got the inventories later on, so just be wary of that. That in fact might move it later, and it could be worth being patient. Okay, there's commodities I'm looking at there. Let's just bring in my other chart here, and I'm going to look through the indices and just bring this through. Let's have a look at the indices here, starting off just looking at the CSI 300 here. So up, finished on an up, a positive day there. Coming across to UK, it's just 801 at the moment, so market's just opening and starting off positively from where we are at the moment. At least started at DAX. Looked like it gapped open, and then it's come off a bit since opening, but still above yesterday's price levels, and maybe got some more on this. I mean, I'm looking at the yesterday's candle there. It's a bullish harami. Maybe we're going to see a bit more upside. Looking at the US market, starting with the S&Ps. Well, the S&Ps yesterday had a reasonable bounce back there, and I keep on saying with these, they're to me at the moment they're barely breaking anything significant. When we see these down days, people getting right, this is it, and the next thing is on each of these, look, a solid, every time it's sold off, pretty solid day or two that follows, whether it'll follow today, and that may be the sign. Is when we don't see the follow in the next couple of days. If it doesn't, put a positive bar in today and it starts rolling over, perhaps then we are in a bit more of a retracement. But for now, the S&Ps, as I said, looking positive there, and again with the Nasdaq looking positive on the futures here, Nasdaq futures, Dow Jones, all sort of big solid days back up there yesterday and pushing up at the moment. So the equity markets certainly look like they've got something in them there. Crypto, well, okay, Bitcoin yesterday, I was looking back at some of these lows where it bounced off its nearer term low there yesterday. It's catching a bit of a bid at this morning, but we'll see how it develops. I think if we see more US dollar strength again today, these may roll back again, but for now, Ethereum also pretty much into those prior lows there, and Ripple is, Ripple actually, I thought it hadn't quite broken down. I was looking at one stage, it looked like it was making a new low there, but all three of them similar price action, similar, all near previous lows there. Are we going to go on and make new lows? Possibly. I'm not totally convinced where they are and how they're sitting at the moment. There's certainly no signs of any change in those markets at this stage. Okay, that's pretty much it for me, unless you've got anything you want me to have a quick look at. I'll wait just 1 second, but as I say, there's little of any surprises on the futures markets here. I tend to look mainly at the S&P for my guide of the futures markets, and I'd say this morning they're still pushing up. Okay, there's nothing coming through, so I'm going to wish you a great day, and I will be back in the morning. Bye for now.